Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today we're talking about spray paint. It's a love-hate relationship because you really need it to create your models, the finishes, whether they're primer or a final coat on things like this IG-11 foot right here. But at the same time, spray paint emits such a bad toxic fume that it's hard to be around. There's overspray and it kind of permeates the whole area you're in. Now, normally I like to spray outside, but we're in the heart of a Canadian winter, so I have to bring that into the garage. I thought it'd be a great idea to upgrade my spray paint booth because right now it was looking like this.
Yuck.
And now it looks like this.
Woohoo!
I built the whole thing out of dollar store foam board, which is pretty inexpensive. It looks like this. It's 5mm thick, and it cost me around $10 to make the entire enclosure. However, I did add an exhaust fan and some LED lights, as well as some 3D printed accessories. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how I exhaust those fumes to the outside. So let's get started. I decided to do a mock-up of my enclosure in Fusion 360 so that I'd have some dimensions to go by when I'm cutting out the foam board. This is the entire back unit. It's got an angle on it to deflect the air so that the fan that's on this side here would be able to draw air in over on this side a little bit better. And then on the side, the right-hand side, I have some supports. They look like this. And there's a bottom for it there too. So the fan's going to rest on this system right here. There's a little cap for it on the end. And then over on this panel here, there'll be a hole where the fan port will go through to the inside. Now the front of the enclosure, well, not really the front, the inside part here where the filter is going to go will look like this. Now I made that piece out of two separate pieces of foam board because one piece wasn't large enough. I split it down the center like that and put some magnetic catches and 3D printed holders for the filter. I'll show you that once I show you the build. And that's what the filter would look like. Now on the front of this, obviously the attached front base will be situated. Looks like that. And the whole unit is 25 inches wide and 24 inches tall and deep. The LED lights will go on this panel right here. And the wiring will go through to a switch over on this side. And at the bottom of that, there'll be a little port coming out of here where the AC adapter will plug into for the lights. Now the front of the enclosure will have a cover. And along this edge here, I'm going to 3D print some hinges so that you can flip this top open. And there'll be some magnetic catches down at the bottom here. And then when this is closed, it leaves a little bit of room down at the bottom here for air to come in and get extracted through the extraction fan. So that's what it looks like. That's what I'm going to try and attempt to build out of foam board. I just used a box cutter and a straight edge to cut out the foam. It's fairly straightforward. Just do some measurements. I just copied the measurements off the Fusion page, and I just made this to fit my actual counter that I needed. My counter is 2 feet deep and my filter that I used is 25 inches wide, so I just made this wide enough to fit the filter. The LED lights are a bright white. They come in a roll and I just cut them in the exact area where you're supposed to cut them. There's a certain section along the way that you can just trim them, and I just laid across about 4 strips or so. Made sure that I alternated the LED rows so that I could easily solder on the positive to positive, negative to negative, just using some spare wire that I had. And then I had a switch from my switch box and a little plug, DC plug, that I took off of something else that I had and just wired it into the LED lights. Just tested them out to make sure that they're all working. Here I'm assembling the foam pieces together with just some regular hot glue. Had to put the filter part into 2 pieces. These are 3D printed holders for the filter, and then a magnetic catch on the top ones. I didn't really need that because the filter actually was really quite snug in there without even the top catches in there. So that worked out okay. Here I'm just assembling the carcass together. This is the back end. Just adding some hot glue is basically all you need to do. Here's a test fit of the filter, pops into the bottom, and then you can magnetically attach tops. But I found once the front was on that it just fit fairly snug. The filter was quite reasonably priced. I got 3 for $7 at Home Depot. It's not the greatest quality filter, but I thought I'd try it out for the spray paint booth. Probably wouldn't be great for a furnace. Here's the support that I made for the motor, for the fan extraction motor. Just reinforced the middle part there so that it had some strength, and then I hot glued that onto the side of the back. Then I lined up the motor on top of that, drew a circle where the hole is going to go, and then just used an X-Acto knife to cut out the hole. Make sure it fits snug in there. I ended up adding some guide rails to the bottom of that support so that the motor wouldn't move front to back. There's the LED light strip in there wired in. And then I 3D printed these gate valves. I designed them specifically for the ducting that I was using, and I just found this off of, I believe, MakerWorld. It's just a hinge that can go 270 degrees, and I tried to hot glue it on at first. Here I'm showing you where it's hot glued, but later on that came off, so I ended up taking that off and using just some crazy glue, some cyanoacrylate to hook that on. This is the way I add decals to all of my projects. I put half of it down with tape, then I line it all up and then peel off the rest. So I'll show you that on this next video here, where I created this Binford Tools Droid decal. I peel off half of it, cut it, lay it down so I know it's secure and straight, and then I do the other half. That way I know it's all lined up properly. There's no bubbles. And then I just peeled off the transfer tape. Did that all on my Cricut. I have a Cricut Explorer Air. Here's the completed booth with the filter inside, magnetic catch for the door, and I printed some pull handles, put Binford label on the front. Here's how my setup ended up looking. It's got the booth right on the corner of this 2-foot deep counter. Then I have my exhaust port right here, and it goes through this ducting, which ties into this vent system right here. So I've got my laser cutter kind of set up the same way with same type of fan. You can check that out in a different video of mine. And now what I've done is I've split it right here, and I've added these gate valves so I can open and close each section individually, and it gets exhausted to the outside through a dryer vent on the exterior of the house. So I'm going to give this a shot. Hopefully I will have some fumeless spray painting happening now in the future. Don't have to worry about the fumes coming into the house. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you're interested in seeing how I'm going to use the spray paint booth to finish off my IG-11, check out my playlist right here. Until then, God bless you, and we'll see you real soon.